Coming to your local view this September, stop-motion spectacular Kubo and the Two Strings.
Our favourite diarist is torn between two men again in Bridget Jones' Baby.
Denzel Washington and Chris Pratt are just two of an all-new Magnificent Seven.
Learn the explosive story of the worst oil spill in American history in Deepwater Horizon.
And we see if Tim Burton's return to form continues in Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Hello and welcome to another edition of What to Watch this month, bringing you all the best films coming to your local view this September. I'm joined by Stefan Pate from Hey You Guys. Hey Stefan.
How you doing? You all right?
I've got to stop meeting like this.
I know.
Very strange. So, our first film this month is Kubo and the Two Strings.
My name is Kubo. I use magic to tell stories.
It's an incredible film. It's so enchanting. The idea behind this film is Kubo is a young kid who's growing up in Japan, and he finds himself on the run from a kind of a series of kind of dark forces led by the Moon King, voiced by Ralph Fiennes. And he's only got two kind of allies, which is a monkey voiced by Charlize Theron and a kind of adult-sized beetle voiced by Matthew McConaughey, who is the real star of this movie. But much like the films before, it just looks absolutely sort of remarkable. And I think that Kubo's really into origami, and that actually makes up a lot of the aesthetic. The whole film kind of unfolds like paper. It's really quite a striking kind of visual experience. It's a film that is obviously aimed at the whole family, but it's so much in there for adults. It's quite a striking debut for Travis Knight.
And then we've got the return of everyone's favourite dotty diarist, Bridget Jones in Bridget Jones's Baby.
I'm absolutely loving my new life.
The idea behind this film now is Bridget Jones is now into her 40s. She's recently broken up with Mark Darcy, played by Colin Firth, of course, who does feature in this film. And she now has a new love interest, an American called Jack, played by Patrick Dempsey. And she gets pregnant. And the idea to this movie is she doesn't quite know who the dad is.
Ah, I was wondering how many fathers we'd get. Full house. Bingo!
We've got returning characters, of course, as mentioned. Obviously, Renee Zellweger's back as the lead role, Colin Firth, Jim Broadbent's back as Dad. But then you've got some newcomers. I mean, Emma Thompson's in the fold, who's also co-writing the screenplay. I mean, I feel like all the characters have got a bit older, maybe a bit more mature, and I think we could be seeing quite an interesting kind of sort of look into the life of one of our favourite kind of literary characters.
So you seek revenge?
I seek righteousness, but I'll take revenge.
So now we have a remake of John Sturges' 1960s classic, Magnificent Seven, itself a remake of Akira Kurosawa's classic, The Seven Samurai. So what's Antoine Fuqua bringing to the table with this new Magnificent Seven? Well,
I think if there's one thing we can guarantee is that this is a fantastic story. I mean, it's spawned two of the kind of great movies of the last sort of century. And Antoine Fuqua is
no pressure then.
No pressure. He's such an accomplished filmmaker. I think he knows how to build a narrative. He knows how to give various characters different kind of respective arcs, and obviously we're dealing with 7 lead characters. So to have him at the helm is really interesting. Denzel Washington, who he collaborates with regularly, is involved, and then Ethan Hawke is also involved, so it's their first teaming up since Training Day, which is quite exciting. Peter Sarsgaard plays the villain. He's got a really great kind of villainous demeanour about him, yes. So that's going to be interesting. But I'm really looking forward to seeing Chris Pratt, probably more so than anyone else, because he's got such a great wit, and I think it's quite interesting to see him take what appears to be a bit of a back seat. Like Denzel's the star of this piece, but hopefully if Chris Pratt can just chip in with the occasional joke, then that should make for quite entertaining cinema.
Quite a batch of strays.
What could go wrong?
And now we enter based on a true story territory with Deepwater Horizon.
Is there someone at your door?
Well, this was the April 2010. There was the biggest oil spill in American history. And this story and this real event could so easily have spawned quite a naturalistic, quite sort of gritty drama. But Peter Berg is at the helm. He made Battleship and Lone Survivor, and he's very Hollywood.
So even though it's based on a true story, that we're really veering into sort of, I guess, almost disaster movie territory. And I guess not to trivialise it, but it's the perfect setting because you've got the isolated nature of the oil rig itself, a claustrophobic location as well.
You're right, you've got that sort of almost one setting for the majority of the movie, and it kind of adds a sense of claustrophobia to the film as well, because they can't really escape. And I think that as well will really kind of complement the narrative.
And then finally, we have Tim Burton's Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, or as I describe it, Tim Burton's X-Men.
Jake, right on time. Miss Peregrine, delighted to meet you.
I think that this looks like a really interesting film for Tim Burton, and it plays into this sense that there's lots going on in the world that we just don't know about. You know, there's all these kind of magical powers that are happening, and I think again it puts the children at the forefront. And the idea in this is Asa Butterfield plays the lead role of Jacob, who has a power where he can see a certain type of monster that no one else can see. It's got Eva Green starring as the protagonist.
Eva Green strikes me as just like one of the perfect Tim Burton actresses. I could not think of a more perfect sort of director-actress marriage.
Oh, 100%. She's got that kind of gothic quality to her. And there's also an eccentricity as well to Miss Peregrine, which I think she seems to have captured. And then Samuel L. Jackson's the villain. So I think this could be one of the kind of surprise, great kind of adventure movies, definitely this autumn.
Also coming to view this month are outrageous adult animation Sausage Party, Evil Dead director Fede Alvarez's impossibly tense Don't Breathe, Ron Howard's Beatles tour documentary 8 Days a Week, and Adam Wingard's surprise Blair Witch Project sequel, Blair Witch. And don't forget that you can book tickets for all the films we've covered at myview.com. Steph, thank you so much for your insight. Thank you for watching and enjoy the big screen entertainment.